Well, hello, beautiful people. How's everybody doing today on this Wednesday, 11/12/25? I hope everybody's well. Thank you for joining me. I found this. Somebody made this video or posted it, and it's of a case that happened in 2019 in Georgia. It says a man eliminates three kids breaking into his home, and a mother claims this was an excessive use of force. Were his actions justified? Now, somebody posted this 17 hours ago, right? And it already has 1.7 million views, 35K likes, 5,000 retweets, 14,000 comments. I was like, what's going on here? So we're going to take a look at this video. Now, when he posted, he says, were his actions justified, right? It's for three people, three kids breaking into his home. See, now this says breaking into his home. All right. So let's watch this and let's get into the deep dive on why I am doing this video. Here we go.
p.m. They kicked in the front door and entered the home to rob it, unaware that the homeowner was a former soldier. The veteran opened fire as...
I apologize. This needed to be back a little more. Here we go. Here we go.
My son only tried to rob you, and you took his life. That was an abuse of force, Channy. You must pay for this.
A military veteran has been charged with murder after shooting and killing three teenagers who broke into his home. The parents of the teens are now demanding that the court sentence the veteran to death. According to police in Georgia, the three masked teens showed up at the veteran's house around 3 p.m. They kicked in the front door and entered the home to rob it, unaware that the homeowner was a former soldier. The veteran opened fire as soon as they entered. One of the teens fired back, triggering a violent shootout. A neighbor, startled by the gunfire, immediately called 911. When officers arrived, they found all three teens shot multiple times in the head and chest. Paramedics pronounced all three dead at the scene. Later, family members confirmed that among the dead were two brothers, ages 15 and 16. After the autopsy report revealed that a total of 28 bullets had been recovered from the teens' bodies, their parents were furious, calling the homeowner's actions beyond excessive. They insisted the shooting was brutal and demanded that prosecutors charge the veteran with murder and seek the death penalty. The homeowner, however, maintains that he acted in self-defense and that his life was in immediate danger. Under Georgia's self-defense and stand your ground laws, authorities determined that his actions fell within the bounds of lawful self-defense. This veteran once fought to defend his country. Now alone in his own home, he fought to defend himself. Do you think this was justified self-defense, or did he go too far? Share your thoughts in the comments.
Okay. Okay. With you watching that video, would you think for a moment that it was AI? Because I didn't. I watched this, I was like, what is this? I look at it, thinking this is something that just happened recently. I mean, like I said, it was posted 17 hours ago. 1.7 million views. But if you can recall what she was saying, she said it was a veteran. That in the video, it was a veteran that shot the boys breaking into his home, kicking down the door. And two, it happened at 3 p.m. Okay? In this 1 minute, 26 second video. Now, were three young people killed? Yes, that part is true. But there's some concerning facts that are completely left out. So let's further break this down. So we have somebody called the Facts Dude. And the Facts Dude says, here's the facts. Follow the tag when a post is needing a context. I might have to follow that guy. Homeowner kills three masked teens and declared stand your ground case in Rockdale, Georgia, County, Georgia, September 16th, 2019. A homeowner in Converse, Georgia, shot and killed three masked teenager boys after they approached his home early in the morning and attempted to rob three people in the front yard. Okay, we're going to read more about that here in a moment. This Kimberly says, did you find any evidence that the mother in the video exists or that she was allowed to speak like this in open court? Posts like this are worse than clickbait. They are harmful propaganda. That comment right there by Kimberly totally, and then Facts Dude says the woman is AI. You can see it with her mouth. Let me see if I can get his post. Oh, you can see it in there. You can see it with her mouth movements. This case was never brought to trial. Those two comments sparked my interest on, like, what? So now what? We can't always believe what we see now, isn't it? With all the AI stuff going on, and it just like, wow. Because I couldn't tell that was AI. At first glance, first time watching it, and I thought, oh, I'm going to read the comments. So, because I like reading the comments. Like, what do people think? Should this be... obviously, in the video, there's a stand your ground law in Georgia. These kids are breaking into his home. But there were so many facts added that he's a veteran. It happened at 3 in the afternoon. The video is showing the boys coming up a stairwell in the broad daylight. So, at first glance, you're not even realizing so much of the information is wrong, is absolutely wrong. So, I went to Grok. I wanted some more information. And I do have a video of the parents. Maybe we can look at that. Where did I have this? Okay, this is right here. This is like a 1.5-minute video. I tried to find something of the parents claiming this, but there's just a small snippet at the end that kind of gives her view on her son being killed.
A deadly incident in Rockdale County, Georgia, is making headlines after 3 teenagers were killed in what police say was an attempted armed robbery. According to the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office, the shooting happened around 4 a.m. on White Oak Court in Conyers. Investigators say 3 teens, 2 16-year-old boys and a 15-year-old, approached a home wearing masks. They were reportedly trying to rob 3 people in the front yard. Sheriff Eric Levitt said one of the teens pulled out a gun and fired at the residence. One of the intended victims returned fire, hitting all 3 suspects. 1 teen died at the scene. The other 2 were taken to a hospital where they also died. Family members have identified 2 of the teens as brothers. 16-year-old Isaiah Reed and his 15-year-old sibling, Jamie Hernandez, were described as close and loving by their aunt, LaShawn Thornton. The third teen was identified as 16-year-old Brandon Gresham. Thornton says the family is heartbroken and wants answers about why the teens were out so late, why they were wearing masks, and whether they might have been shot while running away.
Well, I hope that we could, as a family, I hope that someone could come forward and let us know what's going on, because this is like devastating to my family that's going on. These are 3 young teens that are dead now, and we all love them.
The sheriff's office says the residents were not injured. Investigators are still gathering evidence, including shell casings, to piece together what happened. Legal experts explain that Georgia's Stand Your Ground law allows people to defend themselves, others, or their property, sometimes with deadly force, if they believe it is necessary. Whether this case will be ruled self-defense or lead to charges is still under investigation. For now, a family is mourning the loss of 3 young lives, and a community is left with more questions than answers.
Hi,
that video was made 2 months ago. It was posted 2 months ago, but apparently it's already been settled in court. And here we're going to ask Grok. We asked Grok, and we're going to get the lowdown and the latest in a breakdown of what happened. So what we're doing is kind of disputing the video that somebody made and generated with AI and put a bunch of infactual stuff in the video, which I don't know why they would have done that. They could have just put the original facts in and generated an AI video with the facts. It didn't happen in the daytime. It wasn't a veteran who, an elderly man who killed these boys. On September 16, 2019, around 4 a.m., three masked teenagers approached a home on White Oak Court in residential neighborhood outside Conyers, Rockdale County, Georgia, and attempted to rob three residents who were in the front yard. So apparently the yard of the guy who killed the teens, he's a trucker. And that mother that you just saw in that clip was wondering, what's going on? Why were they running away? Well, the moderator said that, but she's wanting to know what's going on, this kind of thing. The teens identified as 16-year-old Isaiah Reed, his 15-year-old brother Jeremy Hernandez, so obviously they have two different fathers, and 16-year-old Brandon Grayson were all local to Conyers but did not live in the immediate area. One of the teens brandished a handgun and fired shots at the residents, none of whom were hit, prompting one homeowner to return fire with his own weapon, striking all three teens. Deputies arrived to find the teens on the ground. One was pronounced dead at the scene, while the other two died after being transported to a hospital. Masks were recovered on or near the teens. Two guns were found at the scene, one believed to belong to the teens. A neighbor, Brian Jenkins, who was running for Rockdale County Commission chair at the time, reported hearing gunshots and finding one of the wounded teens screaming for help in his yard. Excuse me. Rockdale County Sheriff Eric Levitt described the incident earlier on as potentially a stand your ground case under Georgia law, which allows individuals to use deadly force without retreating if they reasonably believe believe it is necessary to prevent death, great bodily harm, or forcible felony such as an armed robbery. Legal experts consulted at the time, including former prosecutors, agreed the homeowner appeared justified in self-defense, noting the mask approached at 4 a.m., people, not 3 o'clock. The teens initiated gunfire and enabled in an inability to immediately identify who first shot in the group threat. So it's still unclear who fired first. The homeowner, a truck driver described by neighbors as a protective of his wife, who was one of the residents present, was questioned but not injured. So he wasn't a veteran. It didn't happen at 3 in the afternoon. And they didn't try to kick down his door. So basically, guys, we got to be careful about what we're watching, and you got to do a deep dive in finding the truth. No charges were ever filed against him, and the case was ruled justified self-defense. Investigators later sought to identify two additional individuals who may have been involved in planning or arming the teens, but no further arrests related to the robbery attempt were reported. So they come walking up and tried to rob that guy in his front yard. We're going to find out a little more about that in a moment. The teens' families expressed grief and questions about the events, holding a community vigil. There is a video of the vigil. I had saw that when I was looking for information on this. Let's see. Some wondered if the teens were shot while fleeing or why the residents were outside at that hour. Really? Really? You're wondering why the residents were outside in their own damn front yard? Now I'm assuming that this is just some people at the vigil that got interviewed and saying this. If you could be out in your yard at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., who gives a shit? It's your yard. But he did have a reason for being out there. Some wondered. They're wondering if the teens were shot while fleeing or Why were the residents outside at that time anyway? The homeowner reportedly expressing being crushed by the deaths through a neighbor. Like this devastated that guy that this happened. As of 2025, no updates indicate any charges, trials, or charges to the self-defense ruling. The incident remains closed as justified. I had to pause to cough. For Pete's sake. The air is dry, y'all, with the heat on. I have to shut my vent. It gets too hot in here and then I get cold. It's just never right, is it? It drew national attention for highlighting Georgia's stand your ground laws, similar to high-profile cases like Tyrone Martin's in Florida. Now, Grok was asking me if I wanted to compare the two, but I did not. I did not. So I asked Grok to think a little harder. So I wanted more of a comprehensive breakdown. Here's a comprehensive update and fully sourced summary of the Rockdale County's triple self-defense shooting that occurred on September 16, 2019 in the Honey Creek Division outside Conyers, Georgia. Am I even saying that right? Whatever. Somewhere in Georgia. Okay, so we have, let me get this in here. Exact location and timeline. Address, 3500 block of White Oak Court, southeast Conyers, Georgia, Honey Creek subdivision. Approximate time was 3:35 to 4:05 a.m. Monday, September 16th, 2019. So them boys should have been home in bed and getting ready to go to school. What do you guys think? They're 16, 15 years old. Why are they not home in bed at 4 o'clock in the morning? So I beg the question to the family or friends or whoever asked that question. I'm wondering, why are these teens out in that man's front yard at 4 o'clock in the morning when they should be in bed getting ready to go to school? Now, this happened in September, so they should have been already back in school, right? Aja Reed, 16, Conrad Salem High School student, so he is a student. Jeremy Hendes, 15, brother of Isaiah Reed, and Brandon Grisham, 16. Let's see. All three were wearing black ski masks or bandanas over their faces. Shooter never charged. Name Carlos Enquire Perzez. Then at the time he was 33 years old. So gosh, I was still pretty young. Occupation, long haul truck driver. Weapon was a 9mm Glock 19 handgun, legally owned. Ruled justified under Georgia's stand your ground law. No arrest, no charges, and the case. In this case, is October 2019. Now, this is a construction of what happened, and I thought this was interesting. 4 people were in the front yard of Perez's home at 4 a.m. Perez, his mother, his stepfather, and a neighbor who had stopped by after work. 3 masked teens approached from the street. One later determined to be Jeremy Hernandez. Pointed a .22 caliber revolver and fired 4 shots towards the group. Bullet casings recovered. Well, family, are you wondering why he did that? Are you just still wondering why the homeowner was out in his yard at 4 o'clock in the morning? None of the residents were hit, but Perez immediately returned fire with 11 rounds from his Glock. All 3 teens were struck multiple times. Dude. And it's dark, y'all, outside, unless they had some lights on because they were moving stuff. They were helping him move. Isaiah Reed shot 5 times. Gunshot wounds, chest, back, and arms. Jeremy Hendes shot 4 times, chest and abdomen. Brandon Grisham, 2 shot wounds, died at the hospital. Now keep in mind, 2 of them are 16, one of them's 15. 1 teen collapsed in Perez's yard. 1 staggered into neighbor Brian Jenkins' yard, who was running for a county commission. And the 3rd made it across the street before collapsing. Evidence recovered. 2 firearms at the scene, a .22 revolver belonging to the teens, the serial number obliterated. So they've got that gun from off the black market, I guess. Yeah, the liberals are always wanting to have more gun laws and more restrictions for the common people to have a weapon, but criminals are always going to find a way to get guns. That's just common sense. 3 black ski masks and bandanas. These are all things found at the scene. 4 .22 caliber casings from the teen's gun. 11 9mm casings from Perez's gun. Cell phone video from a 14 who fled. I don't know. Maybe I need to deep dive. I don't know if they would have, if we could see that video. I was pulling up stuff. And maybe if anybody's watching this, if y'all know about the video, post it in the comments. Because apparently he was filming it. He recorded video on Snapchat showing the 3 masked teens with the .22 revolver minutes before the robbery, laughing and saying, "We're about to hit a lick." I don't even know what that means. So maybe he didn't get a chance to film the whole thing. I don't know. But he was filming them before this incident happened. So it was all premeditated. They get a weapon, they have masks on, and they're going to go rob somebody. That's all premeditated. He fled when shooting started. He was arrested 2 days later. Charged as a juvenile with 3 counts of felony murder because his accomplices died during commission of an armed robbery. Let me see. Adjudicated delinquent. Sentenced to secure youth detention until age 21. He was released at 2024. Fifth person of interest. A 19-year-old Kenya's man was questioned for allegedly supplying the .22 revolver and helping plan the robbery, but he was never charged because insufficient evidence. Isn't that a shame? Because he probably was guilty of that. Rockdale Sheriff County, Eric Levitt press conference, September 16th, 2020. This appears to be a stand your ground justified shooting. These individuals came here with masks, came here with guns, and shot at people in the yard. Kind of reminds me of Sheriff Grundy in Florida. Yeah. Georgia Bureau of I didn't even know Florida had this law. I mean, not Florida. I didn't know Georgia had a stand your ground law. I knew Florida because we usually hear a lot of cases in Florida, stand your ground. This kind of stuff happens. Georgia Bureau of Investigation, case file closed, October 23rd, 2019, justified homicide, no criminal charges. This never went to court. And the video we just watched of the mom saying, blah, 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 that's all fake. No, it's all fake. This never went to trial, so she didn't be able to stand up in court and fuss about this stuff. Rockdale DA Alicia Johnson, 2020 statement. Case remains closed. No intent to present to grand jury. It's pretty much cut and dry. I mean, what are they going to have? Aftermath and family reactions. Families of the teens held a vigil at Salem High School. Some questioned why residents were outside at 4 a.m. Answer: Perez had just returned from a cross-country trucking run and was unloading with his family. And why the hell would these people, his family, question it? My question is why were your children 15, 16 years old in that man's yard at 4 o'clock in the morning? That's the question. Good Lord. I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Like, I am sure his parents are devastated. Her children are dead. Her 2 sons are dead. But again, you would think, well, she should be blaming herself in some way or another. She should be blaming herself. Like, why did you go to bed and you didn't make sure your kids are, or they just snuck out in the middle of the night and she didn't know it. And that's a possibility. They just snuck out in the middle of the night and she was in bed asleep. That's wholeheartedly a possibility. That is certainly a possibility. But he was unloading because he just came back from long haul trucking. Mother of Reed and Hernandez brothers filed a federal civil rights lawsuit. Of course they did, in 2021, alleging excessive force, dismissed with prejudice. Gosh, my throat is so dry today. Oh, it's killing me. Prejudice means, and I, like, I'm not an expert, but I think prejudice means that they can't refile to have a civil case again with prejudice. Now, if he would have just dismissed it, then maybe in the future the family could come back and sue him. But I believe being dismissed with prejudice means that they can't file. It's a done deal. Dismissed with prejudice in 2023, judge ruled qualified immunity justified under state law. Excuse me. Sometimes I can't get to that mute button fast enough. Perez moved out of the state shortly after. Neighbors say he was devastated and receiving death threats. Oh my God. Oh my God. This poor guy. These little shits go in his yard and try to rob him, whipping out guns, got masks on. Good Lord, what are you supposed to do? And the community has come after him. It's sad and pathetic. 2025 status as of November 12th, 2025. No charges ever filed against Carlos Perez. 14 getaway driver released from youth detention in March of 2024. Case still cited in Georgia self-defense training courses as textbook example of justified deadly force during armed robbery. Interesting. They're using it as a case study. That's good. Frequently referenced in the Second Amendment as stand your ground debates compared to Tyrone Martin and Ahmaud Arbery cases. Let's see. Preliminary sources, GBI investigation file, public records request. This is stuff you guys can go look at. Rockdale County Sheriff's Office body cam and 911 audio. Federal civil cases. There's 11 Alive News. Y'all can go and look at some more stuff if you want to deep dive more and seeing the news that was coming out at the time, and it was 6 years ago. Rockdale Citizens Archives. Let me see. I got to move this up for you. This incident remains one of the clearest modern examples of Georgia's stand your ground statute being applied exactly as written. Masked armed robbers fired first, however, responded with deadly force. I'm sorry. Homeowner responded with deadly force. No duty to retreat, no charges. So he didn't have to retreat. He just pulled, I guess he must have had his gun on him, y'all. I don't know. I think he might have had the weapon on him. But let's go look at this one more time and see all the inconsistencies and to sensationalize this story. And I guess to just make people get upset and outraged about it. Like showing a black woman, we all know in the past when these cases have come up, the Tyrone Martins and the all of these different kinds of cases, Brown, Floyd, just police stuff. But this was in a neighborhood. Just showing a black woman getting upset and screaming at the judge. She wants answers. This was excessive force because of all the bullets being shot at the boys. I mean, this guy, Perez, must have been like, He knew how to use his weapon. Plus, imagine being in his shoes. You're out there with your family. Your mom's out there. It's in the middle of the night. He just got home from a long haul. He needs to get some stuff out of the truck, and they're helping him so he can get in because it's late. And 3 individuals walk up en masse. Now, he doesn't even realize, are they children? And did it matter? I guess the after fact, it doesn't matter. I mean, they're there with intent. They have a weapon, and he just starts shooting them. And that blame, what that article said, one of them was shot 3 times, one of them was 2 times, and the other one like 2 or 3 times. Damn. I'm like, damn. I can't imagine the adrenaline that he must have been going through. Unbelievable. So we're going to look at this one more time, and you can see the difference between the actual facts and what somebody generated for clicks. And right now, it just bumped up, y'all. It's 1.9 million. So this is circulating on X with without any background contents, thanks to the facts dude, which I think I'm going to have to follow him. And I apologize. My throat is very dry today. The air is dry. Winter is coming upon us. Let's check this out one more time. After we've read all the facts.
My son only tried to rob you, and you took his life. That was an abuse of force, Chandler. You must pay for this.
A military veteran has been charged with murder after shooting and killing 3 teenagers who broke into his home. The parents of the teens are now demanding that the court sentence the veteran to death. According to police in Georgia, the 3 masked teens showed up at the veteran's house around 3 p.m. They kicked in the front door and entered the home to rob it, unaware that the homeowner was a former soldier. The veteran opened fire as soon as they entered. One of the teens fired back, triggering a violent shootout. A neighbor, startled by the gunfire, immediately called 911.
That is truly him,
When officers arrived,
though.
they found all 3 teens shot multiple times in the head and chest. Paramedics pronounced all 3 dead at the scene. Later, family members confirmed that among the dead were 2 brothers, ages 15 and 16. After the autopsy report revealed that a total of 28 bullets had been recovered from the teens' bodies,
Damn.
their parents were furious, calling the homeowner's actions beyond excessive. They insisted the shooting was brutal and demanded that prosecutors charge the veteran with murder and seek the death penalty. The homeowner, however, maintains that he acted in self-defense
That's
and
not
that his
even
life
him.
was in immediate danger. Under Georgia's self-defense and stand your ground laws, authorities determined that his actions fell within the bounds of lawful self-defense. This veteran once fought to defend his country. Now alone in his own home, he fought to defend himself. Do you think this was justified self-defense, or did he go too far? Share your thoughts in the comments.
There were so many things wrong with that. It happened at night. They did not kick on the door. They did not go inside the house and fire at him. The guy was not a veteran. Dude was 33 years old and a truck driver. It happened in his front yard at 4 o'clock in the morning. The mother, this never went to trial. The mother never got up and shouted all of this stuff. Now, there was an image of the neighbor. That was a true image. I don't know about the sheriff, but I did see some other videos when I was researching this. All the gunshots, there was too many. 28. The guy had a 9mm. I don't even know how many that holds, but we saw on the paper how many times each boy was shot, unless they're counting bullets that are everywhere. It's all misleading. So whoever did this video truly did not do their homework, and truly, what is the point behind this? Is this to stir up racial tensions? I mean, Carlos Perez is a Mexican. Sounds like a Spanish name to me. But I don't know. I think this is dangerous to... so anybody out there making videos, I mean, there's nothing wrong with making a AI video, but you need to have the facts in there. And this definitely was way off base. Way off base. And that the family wants to seek retribution. Now, they did file a lawsuit, as we just read, but it was dismissed with prejudice. So they can't go back because it was a stand your ground. It was clear and cut. Those boys showed up to rob someone. They must have been apparently there was a car. They had a getaway car because that one young man filmed. They had film of them planning this. And they had the gun. They were planning. This was all premeditated. Now, I would assume that the parents would have been told this. They would have been brought in the room with the detectives and said, hey, this is the evidence that we have. Because, yes, they want answers, of course. Sure, they want answers. So, what? He says, yeah, we've got video footage from the juvenile. We can't give you his name. She probably knows who he is. And that they filmed it. They filmed it moments before they did the deed. It was pretty cut and dry. It was premeditated. They had a weapon. They had masks on. And boom. And this is what they were going to go do. Well, you let me know what you think about this, about AI, the misuse of AI, and how AI can mislead people and stir that pot up of animosity against either other races or whatever the case of the situation is. Please hit that like and subscribe. I know you want to. Leave a comment at the bottom. Don't worry about that bell. It's okay. Those bells, if you put a bell on all of the YouTube channels you're on, it's going to drive you nuts because it did to me. So I don't hit the bell. Unless I see somebody's going to have a live show, and then I'll say, notify me. If AP and DW are going to do a live show, I'll do that, or whoever, then yeah. Then I'll hit the notification button. I will do that. But thank you. I hope you got something out of this, and let me know what you think about the dangers of AI and the positives that AI could have. But in this one, I think this was on shaky ground, giving such misinformation, showing a mother distraught and wanting answers in the courtroom where this never made it to trial. And there you have it.